Howdy partners, it's Ricky Cicchini, the VP of Product at CloudRadial. With the release of our powerful new role assignments feature, I'm here to show you a few use cases to get the most out of your new enhanced user permission sets. In this specific video, we're going to look at how to create a billing access role for certain end users and the methods in which you can apply it. Let's get started. Okay, so we find ourselves in CloudRadial with the goal of creating a billing user which has more permissions than a basic user, fewer permissions than an administrative user, but we also need to solve the problem for how do we apply and assign that role at scale, and I'll show you a couple different ways. Before we get into the actual role assignment, we're going to pick a guinea pig user to kind of watch and see how their role and view evolves and kind of the intended use case. So within my company, Azure Technology, I'm going to head to Usage and Users, find a user in my list. In this case, I'll do Diane Mead. We're going to click on Diane and we're going to check right now the type of access she has. So typically when you're elevating a user to a kind of a power user role, whatever the use case may be, you check their role assignment. They're probably going to just be a basic user. When we impersonate that user, what that means is they have limited access to the feature set, but we want to give them a little bit more, right? Invoices, accounts, agreements, whatever have you is probably south of the basic user set. You can see in this other tab I have extra stuff, but Diane is our basic user. So first things first, we always want to do these three things, right? Create the role, assign the role, double check the role. Let's go create our role first and foremost. We're going to click on Partner and Security, get to our role assignments, role management page, click on the Roles tab, and then we're going to want to add that brand new role. So in our case, we are having an example where it is a billing person, an invoicing person, a finance person, whatever you want. You can go ahead and write the name and the description. Obviously, it pays to be descriptive because if you're managing this CloudRadial system with other people, it's easier to explain and understand what you're going for if you put some words in there. You do not want to make this the default role. In our specific case, this role does not really have any business impersonating other users or jumping into other companies. We want a nice simple set where they just have a little bit of expanded permissions over a basic user. So this is totally fine for me. I don't need to give them any partner level permissions. Really, you could just skip all of what I'm about to do because this is essentially a basic user. Now, if you really wanted to, you could also just go ahead and add in a couple things here. Invoices, I want to give them the ability to read them. Agreements, and even quotes. If you wanted to, you could minimize absolutely everything else because CloudRadial's permissions stack, which means that if I gave them essentially the exact same permissions plus a couple billing ones, that would be fine. If I give them just additional billing options, that would be fine. In either case, the most permissive set of permissions is going to come through, so either case works. I just do this thing where I minimize everything for the sake of the video, so it's really clear what additional permissions they're getting. So this is cool. I've made a billing role that when I hit submit and I apply this to someone should give them extra access to this account tab and specifically read access to agreements, invoices, and quotes. Again, I'll use the billing example as a general example, but you can use this with really any power user you want to create. Maybe you want to have somebody have access to quotes and invoices and also the dashboard, you name it. But we're cool with this. So I've created my role here. I'm going to go to role assignments and now apply it. And I'm going to click on add role assignment at the top. And this is where we get into the strategy of applying this billing role. So now we have a nice reusable billing role that we want to use for certain people. If you do it through role assignments, you probably want to set the scope to a company because we're probably going to want to pick users within a subset of a company. So when I click on company, I can pick users within any company. In our example, we're using Diana within Azure Technology, so I'm going to pick Azure Technology. We're going to click the role that we want, our billing role, and then we're going to select our user, which in this case is Diana. We're going to come back to a couple different use cases here, but keep it super simple and review our changes. So we're literally just saying, in addition to the user role, also give Diane, which I keep calling Diana. Sorry, fictional Diane. I don't mean to disrespect you. We're going to give her this role. Okay, cool. And you can see now that in the role assignments, we see billing has been applied to Diane. So what happens here is in this other tab, when I refresh, what I expect Diane to see is the basic user stuff plus those billing role permissions we gave her. So when I refresh, she has access to a new tab and those tabs beneath them to get into the invoicing and billing options. nice delineation to show her that she has access to something that is not part of the standard set, and she's off to the races. So pretty simple way. You could obviously repeat this as much as you want anywhere, meaning that if you wanted to go back and do it for a different company without having to jump into that company and apply things one by one, you could. So if I pick digital efforts demo, same thing, I want to do the billing role and I want to pick a specific user, I can go through and select as many users as I want to bulk apply the role. I want to address in the video that when you do this, you're going to see members of your own company appear in the list even though they're obviously not in the company. So you can see that I have Azure Technology people alongside digital efforts people. That's not relevant in this use case, but if you see this, it's because what CloudRadial is saying is if these users in your company get access to that company, they could have administrative access in yours and then billing access in their company. It's not something we're going to focus on for this video, but it is normal to see your users appear even when you select a different company. That's going to be a constant, so just a heads up. So I'm not going to go ahead and do this, but the example is you can apply billing roles to other users just by selecting the scope and going through it. If you don't like this screen, or you like to do it a little bit more hands-on, or you like to do it where you find the users, you can do it in an alternate way. So as long as we have that billing role assignments is one great way to do it. You can also go to partner clients, click on the global user list, and similarly, if you know the users that you need to make into billing users, you can search the company. Again, we could do our digital efforts demo as an example, find the user, in this case Andrew Holland as our theoretical billing person, clicking on that user and clicking on their role assignments tab. We can do that on the fly. So we can take their user role, keep it as is, and layer in additional permissions. So if I add billing to Andrew Holland here, he is a user. He additionally has billing permissions. If I impersonate Andrew's permissions right now, we should see, similar to what Diane saw, his company, his basic user, plus billing stuff, right? So pretty simple in concept. It just depends on how you want to apply it in bulk. If you have types in your PSA and you want to do this in a much more efficient manner, but it's obviously dependent on if we support it. We do very well with ConnectWise with this. Autotask and a couple other key PSAs work with this, but you might have to set it up. We're talking about type mappings. So you can see that it's very powerful to create these custom roles and to layer them in. But if you're doing this at scale, especially with roles and you've got a lot of users, it may pay to use your types in your PSA, because chances are you probably have your PSA set up with user types right now. And if you can take the types of user from your PSA and translate them over into CloudRadial roles, it'll save you a lot of time. If you want the detailed instructions on how to do that, we have a type mapping article, but I'll show you the quick and dirty right here. So you still have to create your role first, which we have. That's our role type. When we go down to partner and settings, we have a type mappings option under configuration on the right-hand side. And when we click on the add mapping, what we're doing again is we're mapping PSA contact types. So whatever the type is inside of, in our case, ConnectWise, maybe this is a finance user in ConnectWise. We're saying to sync them with CloudRadial, add them to key user groups if you like, but specifically we're talking about which role to apply them. So adding in the role from here essentially means that you can manage your roles and your permissions from your PSA and have them translate and apply the role easily when they come into CloudRadial. So you don't have to necessarily pick people one by one. You can set up these things to map them over. Again, ultimately it's up to you. All three methods will achieve the end result, which is giving a user power to have their base user permissions plus any customizations that you want to achieve the results that you want at scale. Hope this video is helpful, and we'll cover a few more use cases in these other series of videos, so please keep watching and let us know if you need any other help. Thanks for watching.